Isaac, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Now I can.
Thank you.
No appointment, just go. No, I had to chase her down because Tracy, she was supposed to see her and she never saw her, and her office kept saying she was going to, so I called her on her cell phone. I know her real well. And after all the summer, she was always calling me saying, "Where's my chicken fingers? I've been waiting on them 30 minutes with the job." So I called her, and she was shopping over in Roswell. And I said, and I got on her big time. So she had Dr. The other man, Dr. Robinson took care of it. We ready to go? Ready to go? Good morning, everyone. It is January the 19th. It's 10 a.m. in the morning. This is the Village of Ruidoso and the City of Ruidoso Downs Joint Use Board meeting. Would like a roll call, please, ma'am.
Yes. Chair Crawford.
Here.
Councilor Cornelius.
Here.
Councilor Jackson.
Here.
Mayor Holman.
Here.
Joey Jarvis, are you on?
Here.
Zoom?
Was Joey there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. What's going on with the camera?
Gary's a star.
He's frozen.
I guess I am frozen. Yeah. So you'll be a star all morning now.
So, in lieu of technical difficulties, we will continue to move forward. I need a motion for the approval of today's agenda, please.
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of the agenda as presented. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Okay, so that was Jackson and
And
second.
Cornelius?
Cornelius, okay. 1 second. Okay. Councilor Jackson.
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius.
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye.
Mayor Holman. Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm just mesmerized by Joey's green fields out there. I expected to see him rolling around out there with a pair of flip-flops on, and
Right?
that's beautiful. Okay, let's move to item number 1, discussion and possible action on approval of minutes, December 15th, 2021. Do we have any comments, questions, corrections?
No, Mayor, I would have moved to approve the minutes as presented. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilor Cornelius.
Aye.
Councilor Jackson.
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye.
Mayor Holman. Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, folks. Item number 2 is discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2022-01, a resolution declaring reasonable notice of public meetings of the Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant Joint Use Board. And this is pretty much housekeeping information.
Yes, it's what we do every year to initiate what time and date our meetings will occur, and they're still the third Wednesday. We have chair review on the second Wednesday of every month, and our meetings are at 10 o'clock.
Okay. So can I get a motion for acceptance?
Mr. Chairman, move to adopt Resolution 2022-01, a resolution declaring reasonable notice of public meetings for the Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant Joint Use Board.
Second.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Councilor Jackson.
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius.
Aye.
Chair Crawford.
Aye.
Mayor Holman. Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
All right, item number 3 is discussion and possible action on election of a chairperson, vice chairperson, and clerk for the recording of the minutes. Do we have any, and we can switch, do whatever you guys want to do. It makes no difference to myself, for sure.
I'll make a motion that,
Hit your button. Yes. Okay.
make a motion for Lynn Crawford to continue as chairperson.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we need to do them one at a time, or can we do them all at once?
We can, since they've already made the motion, we'll go ahead and take a vote on this.
Okay?
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, then I would submit, if it's acceptable, with Mayor Holman, that he would remain as vice chair, and that we would continue to use the clerk, Ms. De Los Santos, as our clerk.
So moved, as the chair directed.
Okay? And
Second.
Second. Okay, is that good with everybody? So we'll roll call.
Sir. Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen and lady. Item number 4 is discussion and possible action on a third renewal agreement with Montgomery Andrews, PA, for legal services related to the regional wastewater plant. And,
Good morning, Mayor and
There you are.
councilors. And this is just to, for the third renewal with the Montgomery and Andrews, and this is for, in case we need them for state or federal administrative orders, NPDES permitting, private and/or non-private lawsuits, or any other kind of legal or administrative matters involving the JUB interest in environmental issues.
okay, and I don't think there's been really any issues with their performances or responsiveness that we know of.
No, and they're more familiar with it than anybody else.
Okay? Then we'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve third renewal agreement with Montgomery and Andrews, PA, for legal services related to the regional wastewater treatment plant.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 5 is discussion and possible action on task order number 2021-005P-7 with Mosen Corbin and Associates, Inc. for hazard mitigation and stabilization for sewer line phase of the sanitary sewer system repair rehabilitation project in the amount not to exceed $932,768.16, including gross receipts tax. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Chairman and board members. This task order is to take the hazard mitigation phase of this sewer line project to completion. And it's broken down by a fixed fee amount for the basic services. And then for the additional services, they've presented a time and material portion of the contract not to exceed. Those items will only be utilized and billed accordingly if they're used. With that, we have Jerry Paz on the line if he would like to discuss the task order.
Hello, Jerry.
Hello, how are you doing, Mayor and Council, Joint Use Board?
It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah, so this is hopefully the final time we'll come before you for anything. The hazard mitigation project is out to bid. There are a number of contractors that are interested in this project, so we believe that they are you will get a competitive bid on this project. We will be opening, we're having a public meeting tonight at the village
Yes.
to talk about this project with the residents and how it'll impact. After we receive the bids, we anticipate that there's going to be the 60 days that normally occurs to get the bids tabulated and evaluated, and then make a recommendation for award to a construction contractor. And then at that point, the contractor will be given a ramp-up time, which is time to get all his materials and duck in a row so that he could hit the ground running without any supply chain difficulties that we've had. That process, that ramp-up time has worked very well on the last project, as the contractor indicated that it was the only project he had going where all the materials were on hand and ready to build a project, so that there's no delays in the construction of it. Then at this point, the project will then, the notice of award will be given, notice to proceed will be given sometime in the summer, and then you'll see construction going on. So this is to manage the construction. The first part is, Mrs. Gutierrez indicated, is the standard basic services that we provide: submittal review, field reviews, project meetings, issuance of field orders, change orders, and all that. The second part of it is on a time and material basis, as there are some elements that we expect there might be changes on the project. So, for instance, when we designed this project as a living river, there are shifts that going on the river every day. So we are monitoring that. After the big flood you had last year, there were 2 sites that required change and that we have already fixed. But all
Karen,
the
where-
other sites.
Where were those at? Can you tell me where you said that they had changed and that have been fixed? Where are those located?
I would be imprecise if I let you know, Mayor, but I think that one of them was.
Was it above Second Bridge, or, I mean, I was just curious because I've been through that and we've been dealing with the RCS and different folks on that, and I was just curious of what has been done.
Yeah, and Steve Morrow, who's our project manager, is actually driving up to Ruidoso right now on his for tonight's public meeting, so he would have that, but I can get back with you on that.
Okay, well, I'll ask him when he gets here. You might just forewarn him that I want to know, because there's probably going to be somebody ask that same question. I know that meeting is this evening at 6 o'clock right here, and then we'll have it on YouTube? Zoom. Okay, so we want to make sure that we continue to get that word out. Okay,
So,
thank you.
yeah, part of this is to collaborate with the contractor on if there needs to be any additional change to each and every site. And so that'll be a collaborative process, and that'll have to work out in the field, because even though we got a much superior survey to design these from, there's still been a little shift from the time we surveyed it a year ago till now. And so if there's no significant shift, it's going to be built per plan. But if there are some minor changes, we'll have to go in there and make those adjustments in the field. We've assured the Corps of Engineers, and the Corps of Engineers is in agreement that the design we've done meets their threshold in terms of not having to really anticipate any significant changes at this point. So that budget is in there on a time and material basis. We may not need it. We may need it. It'll just have to work it out. And that's why it was put in on a T&M basis, because we estimated to cover any expected changes but it may not be used. There's also the construction observation, which is a daily rate that we charge, and if the contractor's ahead or behind schedule, depending on how efficient they are, that number could also vary. So again, you pay for the service that's delivered on a time and material basis only. And with that, I think I would also yield back to Karen.
Okay. I was gonna look up and see real quick what those observation hours, what that entailed.
So would you highlight on this handout that you've given us the time and material portion, and do we have an expectation?
Right, okay, so on the second page of the actual agenda, I summarized the time and material, so that's $540,000 worth of time and material efforts.
Okay.
Of that, $350,000 is for the construction observation. So based on what they bill, as far as what they utilize, we'll pay, but, and time and material billings are different than basic services. because they have to include all the backup. In other words, if they're gonna bill us for hours, if they're gonna bill us for reimbursables or whatever, they have to include the backup. So, it's a really good, way to do, billings because, we don't know what their anticipated use of this is.
So that's the point. I want to make sure we're staying rock hard on that. Now, I guess Zeke, you'll be following up on some of that, on staying on to make sure we're inspecting what we expect on this.
Zeke will be part of the construction oversight that the village has, and then we also have high water mark on as well. Part of what Moles and Corbin has put into the, or we will be putting into the contractor's contract is that they too have to have an on-site arborist.
Yes. Is it actually an arborist?
Yes, because Moles and Corbin employs, Jesse is a landscape designer.
Right.
But that's what they called out in the contract, so that we can assure the property owners what we're out there selling as far as easements are concerned is what we're doing. Because the last thing we want to do is make sure that we, contractors have to follow what we have put in the easement and what we call out to be removed as far as trees or landscaping. That, all that's going to be an oversight. And Zeke has come up to speed with the project, so we feel pretty confident that between these three entities, we can handle the oversight on it.
So we'll have an arborist on site, and where does that come from?
That's part of the contractors.
So they'll bring this individual in. I don't know if we have one here, do we?
They will have to provide it,
Okay.
the contractor. So they'll have to probably sub out a arborist to be there to actually help evaluate the trees when we get to the digging, so that they're on site and making sure if any root
So
system.
that's the expectation right there that
Yes.
we're putting out is we expect this, while there's digging, whatever coming out of there, that the arborist is on site.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And is that correct,
Jerry?
Jerry? You understand
Yes.
that? Yes.
Yeah,
That's going to be
that's
written in.
Okay, so will any of that be talked about this evening at
Yes.
6? Because I know we have several of those people that are going to be tuning in and that,
Right, and we will, tonight's meeting will incorporate Moles and Corbin staff with their landscape designer, which put that presentation together. We're going to have high water mark here, we're going to have the surveyor here, and then we'll have our staff here as well.
okay. Yes, sir.
Karen, on the additional required services, it's got the gross receipts at 7.875.
Yes, sir.
Is that Albuquerque or where is that?
That is Albuquerque.
So some of this work will take place here, though.
This is just for the engineering portion of it?
Yeah, but the public outreach and inspections will be taking place locally.
Right, and that, I see what you're saying.
Because, that's the big deal is the destinational gross receipts collection
Where the work takes place.
Yes.
that has passed.
The construction definitely, and Jerry.
Well, this doesn't cover construction, this is just them, but some of it's still local, it looks to me like.
Like the outreach this evening, and I don't know how those are classified in this, some of the things that we're trying to,
And the
Work on.
observation definitely be
Yeah, the
here.
construction observation, and that's separated.
I mean, that's $372,000 between those two.
That is a very
Yes.
good question.
I may not be as familiar with on the tax law, but there is a provision, I think you're correct, Mayor, that it passed, that if the service is actually provided in the village, then we would be charging the village tax rate and that the village would receive that gross receipts tax.
yes.
I think that you're getting at.
Yes,
And I believe that since the construction observation person is not an engineer, that would be applicable. So we will have to modify that. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
And probably part of the outreach.
That's really, really been confusing for a lot of these projects because the
Yeah,
engineering
yeah.
portion, versus okay, we'll make that amendment to that. And since we have the new year, I don't believe there's been any tax change in Albuquerque area. That comes out twice a year, so we'll verify that.
okay. Is there anything else that you want to highlight off of this? The next question, obviously, is we want to make sure where we have that.
Yes, sir. We just had a meeting with the governor's office, and they are reaching out and looking for that.
Well, you're talking about the $9 million to state.
Yes, the additional gap
Yeah.
money, but right now, this is coming out of the FEMA Sandy.
Sandy recovery money.
Yes.
So the money's set back in the JUB account?
Actually, I believe all of that, I'll let Judy speak to
Okay.
that. I believe it's sitting in our FEMA account.
We just want to make sure we understand where the
Right.
funding's coming out of.
Chairman, members, the current grant, which, as you all know, we had 33 million advanced to us, so we still have some of that money, and it's in our FEMA fund account, 300. So this portion will be coming out of that funds account. As you know, there is a deficit, but we will take this money first, and
Okay.
then the construction, that's where the gap will be.
Okay. And then we're asking for some gap funding in some of our ARPA money and outlay money to fill some of these gaps. And then we've been in conversations with the state because they've said, yes, basically, they've acknowledged they owe that, what is it, 17.5%?
It's 18%, the
18%.
state's share.
18% state share, but we've never received the money. So we've been in negotiations with Army, Homeland Security, and then the secretary got moved just recently. And so we're dealing with the new ones. We had a conversation yesterday with the state, the governor's people. And so we're just trying to identify where that money's coming from and when.
And the state share is 6 million, and we've received 3. We have 3
Oh,
outstanding.
we have got 3. So it's 6 million.
It was 6 million, so we have half, their remaining 50% of their share is what we haven't received.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
So do we have our share somewhere,
Yes.
the 7%? Okay.
Okay.
And right now, since we won't know all the final numbers until the bid comes, so right now the gap is like around 10, 11 million, but if the construction, excuse me, comes out higher than 24 million, then it's just gonna increase the gap.
Correct. That's why we've been working on this gap.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the materials have gone out of sight since we settled with FEMA on it.
Yes,
And my
sir.
money-making machine is broken, so.
We'll get you a new one there.
And Jerry, your on-site supervisor, who is that?
So, Mayor, at this point, we have not permanently assigned an individual.
Okay.
Kind of like for the date to get a little bit closer. Right now, we have Raymond Narvaez in there with the lift station project, but should that lift station continue on past that deadline, we'll probably bring in a second observer.
Okay. Yeah, I would just like to make sure that, Karen, you have his cell number so we can
Absolutely.
respond and whatnot. And then I know that we're working on some signage up there coming out of Upper Canyon where people have missed that turn. I don't think it's just because of the construction. I think it may be a little bit of drinking in the evenings. They've missed that turn and taken out that property owner split rail fence several
Twice,
times.
yeah.
So we're working on that too, but just so that we can stay in communication on these things. If there's questions, we can get them answered. So,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Okay, does anybody have any additional questions for Karen or anyone? Jerry?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can Judy, can you explain a little bit more on the joint use board side, how much we'll owe and stuff like that, please?
Do you mean, the JUB portion, or are you talking?
Yes, ma'am. Just the JUB portion, and then if the city's Ruidoso Down still responsible for 15% of that, or if it's the grant gonna cover it, and then we pay a percentage of that or whatever.
So this FEMA project is currently funded between federal, state, and our local share, meaning JUB. The feds will pick up 75% of the total cost. The state will pick up 18%, and then we are strapped for the 7 remaining percent. Now, that funding is only at the 36 million. Those percentages go away if the project ends up being more than 36 million. Any additional over that 36 million will be 100% JUB, which is then broken down between 85 and 15%.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. And I've heard that story about 100 times myself, Joey, and still it's
Yes.
pretty squishy,
It is.
and it's always moving.
Mr. Chairman, I was just reading through the pages here, and I was looking at like page 32 of this document, and it shows the Village of Ruidoso, 294,000, joint use, lower interceptor, 65. And some of my people had a question of what, are we paying the 65, the 15% of that, or is it the total amount we're paying 15%?
My understanding is it's 15% of the 65, right?
Yes.
That's what I understand.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Right,
Just the stuff that's done in the dam.
Yeah.
right.
And they are able, Judy, you're going to be able to keep those billings separate?
We have been.
They actually have been billing us that way on that section of the interceptor line. They have been,
Okay.
actually breaking it out accordingly so that we could, go back and easily calculate the percentages for us.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure. And Mayor, we did, call and give Mary, the Cords Finance Director, a heads up on the numbers, and, she was okay.
Okay. The course,
The Cords.
Cord, I'm sorry, yes. Mary Castaneda, yes.
Yeah, we
Okay,
did
great.
talk to her before the meeting.
Okay, good. I'm sorry. I thought you said course, and I was lost for a minute. So cord makes much more sense.
Right, and
Separate.
just so everybody knows, the reference, the way it's broken down on some of the billings and on some of these handouts, the VOR and the CORD, which is meaning the Village of Ruidoso and the City of Ruidoso Downs, it should be JUB, but because of the contractor and stuff, and they don't know all that, we've specifically put Village of Ruidoso and City of Ruidoso Downs so that they could easily distinguish how they do their billings.
And there's 2 different tax rates involved.
Right,
Correct.
right.
Okay. Anything else from anyone? Okay, thank you, Judy. Then we'll move on to item number 6. Oh, wait a minute, we got to make a motion here. I was just moving it right along. Go ahead, we get a motion for this?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve task order 2021-005P7 with Moles and Corbin and Associates, Inc. for hazard mitigation and stabilization for sewer lines phase of the sanitary sewer system repair rehabilitation project in an amount not to exceed $932,768.16, including gross receipts tax that may be adjusted to the point of service of where that work is done.
Second.
Okay. Any other comments? Roll call, please, ma'am.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll have our rest of our money pretty soon. So awesome. But we look forward to getting that done, and I'm looking forward to the meeting this evening. And if anybody, we'll make sure that we have all the information for Zoom, but if anybody wants to join us here, you're more than welcome. Okay, item number 6, monthly report on regional wastewater treatment plant. Isaac?
Okay, Mayor and Councilors, so, we've been running good. We're, our flows were pretty comparable to last year's. I mean, they're pretty low right now. We averaged about 1.37 last month. We're still removing approximately 99% of everything coming into the facility and treating it. As far as the fog goes, the Inn of the Mountain Gods gave us 39.0 milligrams per liter. Palmer Lute 14.7, and Apache Travel Center 13.7. So that wasn't too bad. We're just gonna keep on monitoring that and see how it goes as the time goes by. That's
So
about.
I want to ask
like
you
I said,
again, on the end of the Mountain Gods at 39, what would you want that to be? I mean, I know that we're looking at everything else in the village and the downs on the grease collection and the grease traps, having those things serviced pretty regular. And I'm just wondering why that one maintains, this, how come it's always so high? And are we in contact with anybody there? Or are we just monitoring and not commenting?
As for now, we're just monitoring. We would like to see it below 20. So
Who's your
Palmer Group
contact
is doing.
there? Adam, do you have one? Well, what I would like, with the commission's permission, is for you to reach out to those guys and tell them that we're having these issues, and we have been having these issues. So maybe it's not just a grease trap issue that hadn't been pumped, or, because we did find that once before, that there was a grease trap that hadn't been pumped for a long time, and it was just overflow.
Yes, Mayor, there's actually a grease trap that they said they didn't know about, that we came across as we were checking the lines out there. Renoso Septic is pumping the main grease trap coming out of the end of Mountain Gods. I think our main problem out there is the Apache T.
And that's where it was last time.
Yes, sir.
So you have a contact there?
Yes, sir.
If we could just reach out and then document for me for us the communication with them?
Yes, sir.
To find out what we can do so we can remedy this. We've been doing this for years now, and it gets better and then it goes right back. And so we're just wondering what we can do, maybe to help give them the information. Sometimes it's just the months and weeks and stuff get away from us, and that maybe they just need a reminder like I do every morning where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do, so.
And, just to kind of go along with that, back last year, they had contracted with MP Chavez, and they were actually going to put some drying beds out there and actually try to capture their grease, but.
Some drying beds?
Some drying beds, like a big grease trap below the dam to actually capture more of the grease, but nothing's moved forward.
Okay.
Adam, can they pump more often, or could they put in a secondary grease trap?
Yes.
Catch what gets through the first one and have most, and they can do something, I'm not sure what.
Absolutely. And like I said, I think, the grease trap they have for the main end is pretty, it's huge. And, I haven't been out there to actually see them pump in a little bit, so I don't know the actual status of that grease trap, the baffles and everything in that grease trap. So that'd be one of the things we need to look at. But at the same time, like I said, I think majority of the grease we're seeing is coming from the Apache T.
Okay. All right, well, if you'll just reach out to them and then, like I said, let me know what they say and document it for us.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Are most of the restaurants in town doing all right, or are we still having problems with a few of them?
Okay, so I have a new FOG officer, and he speaks Spanish very well, so there is no more excuse of not knowing any English. So he has been hitting, I think he's already hit everybody at least once. So he's actually going to go back out today. And Marty or Adam, if you guys have any problematic areas, I don't know if you've already talked to Jesus, but I can get him to get a hold of you guys. And if you guys have any problems, you can call him, and he can go out anytime during the week to address any kind of problems you guys might have.
Isaac, I guess when he's in town, you might have him get a hold of us, especially the first couple rounds, so we can kind of address our problem areas and maybe help him out a little bit.
That sounds good, because he started like 3 weeks ago approximately, but he's been out there, and he's a pretty straightforward gentleman, so he should be really good for these inspections.
Thanks, Isaac.
So when we're out there with these restaurants and whatnot, I can just think back to my days. If we have solutions for them, you know, if it's obvious that they're not pumping it, you know, some of them choose to clean it out themselves. And, you know, I don't know how they do that. I mean, there's times that I've called that we have busy weeks and we're not on the schedule. And rather than it overflow, our guys get in there and scoop it all out and put it in buckets. And then once it's pretty much solidified, you know, we put it in the dumpster. That's what I was told to do. So, you know, I would like for them to, you know, what is it, WX,
WX.
and Ruidosa Septic are the main two?
Those are the main two that I've seen people contract.
So I want to make sure that we have the information that they need so that we give them a solution to help with all of our problems. But again, I'll say that if you have people that you're not able to make headway with or whatever, I'll be happy to go talk to them and sit down, because I'd rather talk to people first before we start, you know, putting a lot of pressure. But some of these, it's been going on too long.
Absolutely.
Chairman Crawford.
Yes, sir.
Isaac, are we in good shape in the downs, or any problems down there that need to be addressed?
No, actually, whenever we do our influent, we do subtract that from what's coming from Ruidosa, and you guys aren't the problem. You guys are well below the 20 milligrams per liter.
Thank you.
Okay. So if we can just all work together to get that done, and it's going to take some pressure. So anyway, look forward to meeting this new, you say his name's Jesus?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Isaac, in the ordinances, do we have adequate enforcement if it comes to that? Because I thought we had a problem with that.
We still do, and that's why I would like for Jesus to meet with Adam and Marty, and maybe we can just go from there and see what we can do to enforce any kind of problems that might arise.
Okay, well, if we need to change it, we need to get on it, because we don't change ordinances overnight.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything? Okay. We'll move on to item number 7, which is the quarterly report. Do you have anything additional?
Mayor and Councilor, so we haven't had any kind of compliance issues this last quarter. Like I said, that last one we had was a fluke. It was a carrier issue. So we've been doing good as far as our nitrogen and phosphorus. I am noticing, like I said, that the strength is coming up a little bit as we've done the sewer line project, and we're having to add a few more chemicals to meet our phosphorus and nitrogen, which is no problem at the moment, but we'll just have to monitor it as the project continues. We did complete 2 basins worth of filter cleans in the month of October. We'll clean 2 more in the spring. That's getting a little bit easier as my guys are getting more and more accustomed to it. It's going a little bit faster, and we're trying to be as safe as possible when we do it. So it's getting a little bit, we're able to complete it a little bit faster than we'll be used to. We're fully staffed right now, but we are in the process of hiring another water resource tech, which would travel between our facility and Randy's facility for cross training. So we're in the process of doing that. Within the next few months, hopefully we'll have a good candidate that we can hire on. That's all I have for the moment as far as my quarterly report goes. Any other questions?
Are we still contemplating putting on some sort of what is it called? A pre-filter, the skimmer, the picker, is that a Mr. Boyd a question?
So Mayor Crawford, we are, have the RFP for the engineering is going to be due this Friday. So our intent is to have a engineer for award at the next JUB to start the design of that pre-screened,
Okay,
that we've, the fine screens that we budgeted for.
okay, awesome. While you're here, when should we expect something back on our solar project, on what we'd sent out for?
So I'm coordinating a meeting with Dale. So we've got Dale under contract with Sautermill and Associates, and we'll start the process of land acquisition negotiation. So my intent is to have that meeting with Dale in the next week or two.
Okay, okay. Anybody else?
And maybe, maybe we can, once we get that, the RFP, maybe we can ask about the new permit that will be coming up. Maybe we'll,
Chairman Crawford, and Isaac, so the number one priority is, when we, present an award and contract for the engineering services, our intent is to also have a task order to start the permit process. So we're gonna try to, negotiate a task order in this short window that we have from RFP to the JUB agenda due time.
Okay,
that sounds great.
all right, good. Anybody else have any? Hang on a minute, Eric. Anybody else have any questions? This is just a question about the possibility for the future. You know, the city, the court is working on obtaining funding to working with the racetrack on the Coliseum. And so people have asked me, will we be able to handle the effluent, the sewage coming out of a 3,500 seat Coliseum?
I would say we could definitely handle it, and we'll make any kind of adjustments that we have to our operations to accommodate it.
And Chairman Crawford, we'll make sure in the treatment plant, master plan document,
Yes, sir.
that we have that accounted for in the master to make sure that we definitively can handle that,
Okay.
immediate.
Because our environment's a big concern, and those one of the questions that are going to be coming up and has come up. So I just want to make sure that we're making sure we've addressed it in our future plans. So, okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Did you have anything?
Yeah, we're talking about the arena proposal. One of the first questions that, or comments that I made in a meeting with the general manager and our finance person was, I want to be sure that we had the water right away. That was because that's a big issue.
Right.
And I was concerned about that. I know they use those trucks and this kind of thing to water down the track and everything. The general manager assured me that that apparently they have wells that's going to take care of that.
Yeah, they've got, what's the water right situation down there? Are you familiar, Eric?
So, Mayor Crawford, and board members, I had previously talked to the former manager, Jeff True, about their water right portfolio, and they were kind of throwing around something similar like this several years ago.
Yes.
And based on their consumption, I would assume that they would have enough water to operate a facility there with the existing portfolio that's there.
Yeah. How big is that storage tank up on the hill? Do you know?
I have no idea about the actual infrastructure in their system, just their paper water rights, so.
Yeah.
But based on my past experience with the wells that they have, they should be able to provide that, that water need. They might have to increase some of the drinking water storage, though.
Okay.
And Mayor Crawford, just so you'll know, we have a well down there that I think they're working on that now to go under the highway to supplement the Griffith Spring. But the well that we have down there, that Riverside well, is awesome. So if we're successful in this, getting this arena and this kind of thing, the Downs will be able to supply the water. It won't be an issue. I can't see it at all being an issue.
Yeah, I can remember the days of Dale Graham and what was his predecessor?
Cletus?
Cletus. Yeah, they always said there was monster wells down there that they felt could handle whatever. And
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're, you know, the questions that are asked, concerns, that we've addressed all those for everybody so that we can hopefully get, you know, countywide, region-wide support for this project, because I think it's, you know, I think it would just revolutionize not just the downs, but everything, so. And then I can see eventually a hotel, so that would be another issue, you know, eventually the extra bays that we have at the wastewater facility, you know, so just as we come with the future, you know, we need to make sure that we're not asking for something that's not going to be sustainable for us. That's the whole point of this course.
Well, if we do have to go to reuse on that, that'd be the closest,
Oh,
the
yeah.
least expensive place to get it to.
That's a good idea. Okay, is there anything else, guys? Okay, and staff's holding up out there, Isaac, pretty good?
I have two possible people that have COVID right now. That's why I'm here and not there, just to be safe. And we're just trying to be as safe as we can, and we'll just see how it goes from here.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anything else from any of the members? No? Do we have any reports? Mr. Jarvis, do you have anything you want to add or say?
No, sir, this time.
Mayor, do you have anything you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Nope, gentlemen. Okay, well, I think that concludes our agenda for today. No further business. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's over the mitigation portion down for the sewer project. It's public input. They're going to do a presentation on what we're going to talk about.
A lot of the questions that the property owners have or concerns are about the vegetation and the tree removal. So that's why Jesse put together this, and it's really informative, and it shows how the construction is going to affect and why, and what areas will have to